The Peter Gordon Pod.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 4 of the now infamous, probably, Peter Gordon Pod. And it is a hello from me, PG. It is a hello from her, Be Careful, Bev.
Hello.
With the name. And hello from him, Maestro Matt.
Hello.
So we're here, we're all gathered again, we're into episode 4. Let's, before we sort of take a few comments on, as a result of last time's episode, let's find out how everyone is. Matt, what's your news? You're moving, aren't you?
We're just packing at the moment, but I've just packed everything up in the kitchen, so it's just takeaways now because everything's packed up. No plates, no cups. We've got 1 cup each. No food. The fridge is empty now, and the door's open, and we've turned all the power off. So yeah.
And you know what you have to eat as soon as you on your first day in the new place? It's got to be fish and chips.
Fish and chips, yeah.
Fish and chips on your knee as you're unpacking first day in.
Yeah, nice.
I'm more interested in the takeaways between now and then, frankly. Cracking excuse. Be careful, Bev. What's your news?
Well, I haven't got any major news, people. I've just been having a little look at the Christmas TV specials. So have you chaps had a look at what we've got coming up?
No, I did notice that the special bumper edition of the Radio Times, you know, the big one, they always put like the double issue. That I did notice that was out. I haven't got it yet, but I always get it every year.
Is that one of the things you get every year at Christmas?
Always,
that and monkey nuts.
My parents. So there used to be. Yeah, you never eat it any other time. My parents used to have both the BBC one because it used to be like, and then the ITV one, which is TV Times. Yeah. And they used to have like leather sort of binders for them. I have no idea where they came from. I don't know where they went either. But yeah, that was how
that is seriously fancy to have leather binders for the
big
Christmas
tradition.
special.
Big tradition. Anyway, so you've noticed a few Christmas specials. Then?
Yeah, so I've just been having a look. So you got new episodes of Doctor Who and Call the Midwife as well.
Right.
Also, and these have actually already started. There's little mini lockdown-inspired episodes of The Vicar of Dibley.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan, there's some great British Bake Off specials, a Christmas one, and there's a one at New Year as well. There's Super Vet at Christmas, Pete, your friend.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
And I don't know if you are aware of Zog. Zog?
Right.
Julia Donaldson. It's Julia Donaldson who did Gruffalo as well.
Oh yeah, okay, right, yeah.
Anyway, Zog and the Flying Doctors, and that's going to be on Christmas Day. And I have heard it's going to be really, really good. It's at 2:35 Christmas Day. So if you want something to watch in the afternoon, that's your recommendation. You
did mention Doctor Who, so I have done a bit of research actually already. So I think that's going to be on New Year's Day, and I think it's a Daleks. Well, no, I don't think I've seen the trailer. So why I'm pretending I haven't seen the trailer, I don't know. It's a Daleks one. So,
is it?
Yeah. It's like, and I think something fairly big is going to happen on that particular episode as well. Not quite.
It's not going to be the same as Gavin and Stacey though last year.
No, probably. No. Well, no, I don't think we could ever actually equate Gavin and Stacey to Doctor Who at any particular point, regardless of what time of year it is, in fairness. Anyway, before we tell you what's coming up today, I just wanted to quickly just reflect on a few little things that we had from last week. So we had the Bailey's Tray Bake that you mentioned, Be Careful, Bev, just before the end of the episode. And I've had quite a lot of reaction to that. We have put, just so you know, the recipe, that's the one.
Be careful, Bev's Bailey's Bake.
Yeah, same thing, the menu, Bev. The recipe is up on our social media if you want to have a little look at that. But thank you to Emma and others who got in touch saying that they're looking forward to having a go at that. Also, bearing in mind, over the last few weeks, we've been, I think, amongst other things, likened to a fine wine. Although Matt slightly got that confused with Bucks Fizz last week. I said the last episode, I seem to remember. And also, what was the other thing? Oh, Radio 4. But that listens to Radio 4. Well, this week, we've been told, thank you, Mary Cooper, for getting in touch and saying, listening to this is like putting on a pair of comfy old slippers. Right. I think that's a compliment. The fact that I have to say that as I sit here in Gordon Towers, I do actually have my nice little slippers that Mr. G got me a little while ago. I do actually have them on. I suppose in a way, Mary's probably right. We are like a pair of old, comfy slippers.
Worn.
Thank you. I heard that. Let's go. Coming up on episode 4 of the Peter Gordon Pod. It's 55 years old this year, but the Yvonne Arnaud, along with other arts establishments, has had a tough year. How is it coming back? We will find out with the artistic director, Joanna Reid. Also, the Guildford Lions They've had also events that they normally use for crucial fundraising cancelled this year, but they are doing other things, especially for Christmas, and we'll find out more about that. Also, the Fountain Centre, right in the heart of cancer care in Surrey, of course, at the Royal Surrey County Hospital in Guildford. They have had to really step up again this year, not just for cancer patients. We will find out about that in the coming minutes. And we also will have the step-by-step update, of course, the Christmas campaign that we are following through this particular series of podcasts. Will have all the news and a local hero as well. It's all here on the Peter Gordon Pod, episode 4.
The Peter Gordon Pod with PG, Bev and Matt.
So this year was the 55th birthday of Guildford's Yvonne Arnaud Theatre, a much-loved venue for people to go and see fantastic shows over the years, including pantos. But of course, the 55th birthday, which actually fell in sort of early summer, it was right in the middle of lockdown, and it didn't go ahead. However, the theatre has been on the comeback trail since the middle of the year, and joining us is the theatre's boss, chief executive, artistic director, Joanna Reid. Hi, Joanna.
Hi, PG. Hi.
Thank you for joining us on the pod. It's nice to have you on. So, can we just go back, bearing in mind that you entered this year, and this year was only the second full year that you were in charge. You only arrived at the beginning of 2019.
Yes.
So, you were entering 2020 with all sorts of hopes and plans and all sorts of things. In fact, actually, things were going really nicely. I know you had some great shows on at the beginning of the year. And, had a massive panto last year, one of the most successful ones I know, etc. And then in March, you were told you had to close. What actually was that like the moment you found out?
Oh, gosh. It was... I'd like to say devastating, but at the time of closing, it was you just moved to sorting out the immediate problem. So that the actual night when we closed, it was so confusing because the direction was so unclear from the government just at that point that it wasn't actually clear we'd been told to close. I had to ring our industry body and double check. This was 6:00 on the Monday evening, and we had the company of Lady Chatterley's Lover. That's it, and. They were about to go on stage. The audience were in the foyer, and we literally had to close the box office and explain to people that we weren't able to stay open. And we've been told to close with immediate effect, which was hard to explain because we didn't have much information. We couldn't tell them if they would be back next week, the week after. And over the next 2 days, the time scale got a tiny bit clearer, but not much. We just knew we were closed immediately. We didn't know for how long for.
Well, as we know, in the end, it was pretty much through until the beginning of August that you were pretty much down.
Yeah.
And during that time would have been the 55th birthday. And I know you had to make some very tricky, very difficult decisions that affected a lot of things and people as well through those months. Then you were able, as things started the restrictions started coming off during that sort of midsummer bit, you were able to start planning again. And I think it was jazz to start off with. Was it open air jazz in the garden?
There was a little bit of open air jazz. Yeah, I felt like I was the cancel fairy. I spent all of March and April cancelling and rescheduling work. So because we thought we could open in June initially, we were just moving shows. And I say just as though it's easy, but it was quite a task to rejiggle everything. And then it became clear that June wasn't going to happen. And then we had to obviously work out how we worked with our logistics, because with no income coming in, things got very critical very quickly if we weren't very careful. We had to cancel all of our summer festival and our tour productions, so that took a piece of work. And we've been talking to Guildford Jazz about wanting to build a relationship with them. And when we got the announcement that theatres could reopen with outdoor work, the Arnaud isn't really equipped for outdoor work. The garden is quite small, but we wanted to use what we wanted to do whatever we could do. So I spoke to Guildford Jazz, I spoke to Marion and Jerry, and they were very happy to come and do a couple of nights in the garden. We went to some of the comedians that we had been planning to program into the summer festival. We put them in the garden as well. gosh, what else we do? It feels like a long time ago because things have worked so
Yeah,
quickly.
and I mean, and I think, since then though, I think, funny enough, there's been articles in the papers recently about how much of a hub a town's theatre is for the town as a general sort of magnetic thing, because it can do so many things. And I would have said that since the sort of comeback started, the Arnaud has really demonstrated its diversity. You've had jazz, you've had comedy, you've had the Guildford Book Festival, of course, which was so many events over a fairly short period of time. And then you've got cabaret coming up, and then we'll talk about the Christmas show in just a moment. But in many ways, and I know you and I have talked about this a bit before, whilst this has been it's just no one's believed what's happened this year. And obviously so many people have been affected by it in so many different ways on both a personal and business level. But would you say, to a certain extent, because you've had to really go searching and sort of almost digging deep to work out how you can keep this sort of jewel in the crown of Guildford going, that you've almost sort of found other things that the theatre can now do?
Well, we were looking to increase our relationships, our community relationships and our partnerships in that June period anyway. We had different people and different artists coming in. So it was a case of, okay, we can't do it that way. Is there a different way we can do it? And we couldn't open the cafe because we couldn't get the footfall, but we wanted people in the building. And I really strongly believe that theatre should be a hub for their community. And the garden's fabulous. So it really was a case of especially with the book festival, they couldn't get their own venues. It was a no-brainer to me to reach out to them and say, look, come to us, because we've got a 580-seat auditorium. If you're doing an event for 80 people, of course we can accommodate that with social distancing. And we really want to be able to help and support you. And we want to get people into the venue again, safely, obviously, and in a secure way. But we can't offer the cafe at the moment. That doesn't work for us financially. So what else can we do? We've had a drama group back recently in a social distanced way, so that's been great. It's been good to find other ways of working with the town. One of the things we're trying to do at the moment is for all the local shopkeepers and producers who might be doing click and collect. We've offered them the Mill Studio as a collection point. Correct. So we and staff from Experience Guildford can staff that. And it means that because we're open late with the Christmas show this year, it's another facility we can offer people. We reached out to see if they wanted us as a blood donor centre and also for testing, but I think we were probably maybe too small for that as well.
Okay. Interesting. And maybe things going forward, it gives people a different view of also how the venue could be used for them. They may even come to you and start saying, look, we've got this, how would that go down? Anyway, so the comeback's on, and one of the decisions, though, that had to be made during that turbulent first part of the year was, of course, that the ever-loved Panto at the Arnaud, which you and I know very well, unfortunately had to go this year. It just wasn't logistically going to work for you, and I know that. However, the doors of the Arnaud are very much open this Christmas, I'm aware, and I know as we are speaking and recording this interview, you are slap bang in the middle of getting a Christmas production together. It's the Snow Queen. So for people that don't know the Snow Queen and the magic of it, just explain a little bit about what they can come and see.
So it's Hans Christian Andersen, and it's the story of Gerda and Kai. Gerda is a girl and Kai, they're friends, and Kai gets captured by the Snow Queen and taken to the frozen north, and Gerda goes in search of him and rescues him, and she has adventures on the way, meets all sorts of interesting people, crows, princesses, robbers, and she defeats the Snow Queen because her friendship and her love for Kai is so strong, and they come home safely. So it's a brilliant Christmas story because it's about friendship. It's obviously frozen and Christmassy, and it's icy and snow. So it's very of its time. But it's about the enduring power of friendship, and it's about young people getting empowered, being confident, and taking charge of their life, which is what Gerda does. So I think it's really empowering for young people to watch it. It's got music in it. It's got comedy in it. It's only got a cast of 5, which is how we're able to put it on. I've had so many people saying, well, if you can do that, why can't you do Panto? But the difference in scale between Panto and this is enormous. This is a cast of 5, but they're playing about 30 characters. And we have a musician with us as well. So we've got a percussion and acoustic and piano music on the stage. So there's some singing, a lot of comedy, and it's straight through without an interval, obviously, and a few bits and pieces of special effects. And we've been able to give opportunities to young actors coming out of drama school to give them their either, certainly for Matty, who plays Gerda, this is her first professional performance. It's great to give young artists that opportunity.
Fantastic. I have to say, so I popped into the theatre to help out with a couple of things fairly recently, and all socially distanced and all the rest of it. I did sneak a very quick peek through the little door at the back of the auditorium to see the rehearsals going on. And I think, I think this is, we can't underestimate this, the amount of care that has had to go on from you as a theatre, as a producing theatre, to make sure everything's okay. I had a quick look. I could see all the spacing. I could see the actors with masks on, all keeping distance. I saw the technical people or people running the desks that normally in the hubbub of, say, a run up to Panto, we'd be sort of, tripping over each other and all sorts of things. I mean, obviously not tripping over, but you know what I mean? Now it just looked so careful what you were doing. And I know that also as, I know you've got like one of those special sort of cleansing fogging machines.
We've got a fogger. We're really proud of our fogger.
I mean, the amount of care you guys are having to take is massive, isn't it? I mean, you really are being careful.
It is, but it's critical that we do that because we're setting an example and we want our audience to feel confident to return. And let's be honest, it is a bit weird when you first go into theatre wearing a mask and sitting, in your own little seat or your own pod with empty seats all around you, which is what the experience is. But what we noticed in the autumn with Penny Keith's show and the other bits and pieces of cabaret and theatrical digs that we put on is the audience very quickly adjusts to that. And the experience they get from the live connection, it's incredibly emotional because you haven't seen anybody on stage for 6-9 months, almost a year soon. So just being part of that auditorium, even if there's just the 3 or 4 of you sat together, you've got your masks on, you're surrounded by the empty seats, but the connection with the actors on the stage and the story is really powerful.
And I can also speak from experience and say that, when you go to the theatre, I know all the decorations are up now and, the twinkly lights and even a lovely display as well, just above the front door. There is that real Christmas feel at the Arnaud. So whilst,
we're really delighted to be doing that. The staff here love Christmas and getting the Christmas decorations. That's a big day. Yeah. And this is a show we've made ourselves. Panto, we bring the set in, but we've made this. Yeah. So, our deputy technician has been doing the carpentry, our lighting technician, Hannah, this is her first main house lighting design. So we've really used what we've got and so many friends have helped us. We've had, we've asked for favours, people have helped out, lent, borrowed, GSA have helped us make some of the scenery. So we really feel like it's been a Guildford show.
A real sort of collaborative effort, which I know is something you feel very passionate about. Now, before we mention, so first of all, tickets of Snow Queen are on sale, I know, and I think the run goes on until
Christmas Eve. And if you want to come on Christmas Eve, book your ticket now because there's about 20 left. It's almost sold out.
That would be a lovely thing. Theatre on Christmas Eve is just magical. Trust me on that. So if there are some tickets going, snap them up. Before we move on to next year, I know there's no Panto this year. There is, however, for one night only, I'm aware, Kit Hesketh Harvey, who me old Panto mucker, who we know and love very well, and I understand he is popping up for an evening. So when is he making an appearance?
He's on the 15th of December, Kitten McConnell. He's going to be fabulous because all the things he can't say and do in pantomime, or all the things he does in rehearsals that I have to rein him in for, I think will be happening on stage.
Yes, I don't doubt that, which is probably just worth us just therefore saying it won't be a panto performance as such. It'll be a much more, a different approach, I think we can say.
Absolutely. And but more for the adults and the children, I think.
Yeah, but a fun one. Anyway. Now, 2021, that year that we're all now just pinning our hopes on it being nothing like its previous one. And we're hoping, therefore, that apart from obviously the theatre getting back into some sort of normality, and I know you're working on productions coming in, we are hoping that by this time next year, we will be getting together with a pantomime again. And I know that you've now decided which one it's going to be, Joanna Reid.
Yes, I have. I'm going back to my roots, Peter Gordon. I'm going back to Gloucestershire. It's Dick Whittington.
Fantastic.
Which I have to say is one of my favourites, Dick Whittington. I love the journey and the quest in it. Plus, anybody from Gloucestershire's got to get on the stage at some point, haven't they? So bring a bit of Gloucestershire down to Surrey,
Well, that's great news. So we know that now it's Dick Whittington for the Yvonne Arnaud for Christmas 21, and that is definitely something to look forward to, isn't it?
Yes, it will be, and there might be some people you recognise popping back into it. I've got a couple of interesting wigs, shall we say, in my cupboard that might fit somebody I know very well.
Well, I have no idea what you're talking about, Joe, but whoever that is you're talking about, I'm sure they'll love it. Anyway, listen, Joe, thank you so much. It's been an unbelievably tough year, I know. The Arnaud, of course, it's a registered charity as well, which sometimes is overlooked and forgotten. And I know you've had some help from the grants and all the things that people have been able to do. But in the end, it's fantastic you've got a Christmas show going on. And may we wish you all the best and break many legs with that show this Christmas.
Thank you. Better go and do my technical rehearsal now. Crack on with it. Make sure
off you go.
Stage. Thanks a lot, PG.
Thanks, Joe.
The Peter Gordon Pod. Thanks for listening.
And thanks again to Joe Reid from the Yvonne Arnaud for joining us on the podcast. If you're interested in the Snow Queen or you want to book Panto tickets for next year, then go online, just search Yvonne Arnaud. You'll find all the information in there, or indeed you can find the number for the box office and give them a call as well. Right. One of the things we've been doing through this series of the Peter Gordon Pod, of course, is recognizing a few people who have been nominated by people getting in touch to be a Christmas hero. And Bev has got the latest.
Yes. Now this one comes from Jenny Robertson, who says, "Hello. I'd like to nominate Hannah Roberts as a hero of 2020. She leads the Shalford Brownie Pack, as well as being a teacher in her day job, and amazes me with her patience, good humour and enthusiasm. As soon as the March lockdown started, Hannah moved the brownie meetings online. She comes up with brilliant activities to keep the girls engaged every Tuesday evening. She sends out regular emails with all the info that everyone needs for some activities, and she even buys the equipment and puts together packs for us to collect before the meetings. In the October half term, she organised a really fun and well-planned day of outdoor activities for the girls with all of the extra effort of COVID precautions. Hannah has worked really hard and created some much-needed consistency for the girls through the year, giving them an opportunity to keep up with their brownie friends and being really empathetic, supportive and a great positive role model for them. Thanks," said Jenny Robertson, and a huge congratulations for all that work to Hannah Roberts.
Yeah, well done, Hannah. Fantastic. So know a Christmas hero, know someone that you think should be getting a mention. We could be doing that for them on the next episodes of the pod series. So drop us a line. Maestro Matt, as always, once you learned it, has got the email address for you.
Yes, it is petergordonpod@gmail.com.
Okay, and we look forward to mentioning someone else as part of the Christmas hero thing in the next episode of the pod. Talking to the pod, just wanted to mention our pod pals, some people that have supported us through this series, including already Branson Adams, tax accountants and business advisors, also Lock Rescue 24/7, local locksmith services for Surrey and Berkshire, and our pod pal next episode is going to be Michael Usher from Michael Usher Mortgages. Looking forward to having a chat with him on the pod next week. Don't forget that we're also on all forms of social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we are on Yodi Facebooky as well. I don't know why I said it like that. Just no, ridiculous. Just search Peter Gordon Pod and you'll come up on there. And we always like to hear from you on there as well.
The Peter Gordon Pod.
So as you know, on this particular podcast, we concentrate quite a lot on local charities and charity organisations. And there are many Lions groups in and around the area. But joining us right now from Guildford Lions is Eric James. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Peter. Great to be on.
Well, thanks for coming along to the pod. Nice to have you on. Now, you know, people know how great the works are that the Lions groups do, and the Guildford Lions. You know, we're obviously going to talk about specifically with you everything from Easter shows to Guildford fireworks through to the help that you give various events and all the rest of it. Of course, this year has been very, very different. But I know that as we head towards Christmas, in your own way and doing slightly different things, the Lions are still in full flow in Guildford.
Absolutely. And, we're really trying to make a bigger and better Christmas as best we're able this year. It's obviously been very difficult for people, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And what we're looking to do is to try and bring a bit of cheer to as many people as we can. We're actually being quite ambitious this year. We've got our Christmas appeal going, and what we're seeking to do, and we're determined to make this succeed, is to help people of all ages through the community. First thing we're looking to do is to supply needy people and families with supermarket gift vouchers to the tune of £20. We're looking to try and do 250 of those. We also, you had Guildford Shakespeare Company on last week, and interestingly, we're looking to fund 15 families to have a free tickets to their production on the 27th of December. And then we're also looking to provide some more supermarket gift vouchers to 7 local schools, again going to appropriate people, again £20. So that's really the big push. But then looking specifically at children, and obviously it's been quite a desperate time for a lot of children with the lockdown and everything like that. So trying to bring a little bit more fun, we're doing a free to enter children's colouring competition. It's 2 age groups, 1 up to 6, and then 1 up 7 to 12-year-olds. Just send in a nice Christmassy colouring picture, which we put on our website and on our Facebook page. The competition closes on 19th of December, so still plenty of time to enter. And the winner of each age group will receive a £20 Biddles gift voucher, and the runner-up a £10 gift voucher. So you can get some great art supplies, which would be really nice. People can enter quite easily just by sending an email to Guildford Lions at btinternet.com. Just send a photograph, put their first name and age, and away we go. You'll be in the competition and have hopefully a chance of winning.
Okay, so as usual, Guildford Lions doing as much as you can, and also a little bit of sort of innovative artwork to be done there, maybe to keep a few small hands busy over these coming days. Thank you for that, Eric, and good luck to everyone with that. And of course, Guildford Lions are on all social media as well. You can find them on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, as Eric was saying, and also just search online for Guildford Lions. You'll find the website there as well. So plenty of ways to get in touch. It may well be. I know sometimes, Eric, you like to know as an organisation of people that might be in need, so people can get in touch, and maybe you'll be able to help them or even refer them on, perhaps. Just looking ahead to next year, we're sort of doing a little bit of that now. We don't always just want to dwell on what's happened this year. We want to look forward to 21.
Yes.
So, with so many events that the Lions would normally be involved in not having happened in 20, are you already making plans, as much as you can anyway, for things to happen next year?
There's never a dull moment, and although, as you say, nothing's happened this year, we've certainly got our plans in place for next year. We're going to be we've already got a programme of online events, quizzes, talks, that sort of thing, which will continue. But we are desperately keen to get back to putting on our fundraising events. Easter show, unfortunately, still a little bit early. That's in April. So we've had to cancel that. But the good news is we're aiming for the first bank holiday Monday in May. That's May the 3rd. And we're looking to put on an enhanced Easter show, I would call it. That will be running on, say, Sunday, bank holiday Monday, the 3rd of May. And it will be an all-day event plenty of children's entertainment, and there'll be some live music as well. So I think that's something really to look forward to, and hopefully it will be so nice to get everyone back out and enjoying a great event. Obviously, we will comply with all the appropriate regulations to make sure everyone is absolutely safe. That's always our prime concern. So we'll certainly be following all the rules and regulations. And then looking on beyond that, you know, with the vaccine coming, then certainly we don't see any reason why our normal program can't be reinstated. So hopefully the Raffle race will be back, and certainly the fireworks. We'll always be looking to put on the fireworks.
Yeah, they were much missed, weren't they, this year in Stoke Park? I know you received a lot of comments around that, and people wishing well and obviously looking forward to next year. So that is definitely something to look forward to. Well, Eric, thank you so much for joining us. We wish everyone, yourself included, of course, at Guildford Lions, and indeed all the Lions groups locally, a very happy Christmas. And here's to a more lively and eventful, in the right way, 2021.
Thank you so much, Peter. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and keep safe and have a great Christmas, everybody.
The Peter Gordon Pod.
And thanks to Eric and the gang, of course, of the Guildford Lions, and also a big hello to all the local Lions groups as well, who just do fantastic work through the year. And in fact, really, in the end, it's things like they just want to raise money. And of course, it's difficult. This year's been so difficult for that. Anyway, hello to all the Lions groups from us here on the Peter Gordon Pod. Quick mention as well, Mark's been in touch saying, just wanted to say hello to Carla at Twin Larder in Ash. She's a good local all-round good egg. Her business is an inspiration. She's adapted in COVID situations to provide much needed products to locals, including flour. Do you remember when no one could find any flour? Good grief. And then just recently, apparently, Carla donated some of her profits to local charity instead of doing a Black Friday deal. So she actually gave the money away as a result. So super passionate about her cause, and the Christmas round the corner when plastic waste is high. Hearing her views might inspire others to think before buying. So perhaps you want to pop along and say hello to Carla at Twin Larder in Ash. And thank you, Mark, for your email. Right, one of the campaigns, or the campaign that we've been following right the way through this particular podcast series, of course, on the run up to Christmas, is the step-by-step Christmas campaign. Just look them up online, just search step by step and you'll find all about it. Here's Bev, though, with just a reminder about step by step, and also some pretty exciting news about the campaign.
Yeah, and of course, Step by Step do such a brilliant job, providing support and accommodation for vulnerable young local people. They're based in Aldershot, and we talked about one of their aims over the Christmas period, which was to provide that support and accommodation for 272 people over the festive period. But the bigger picture was they had a goal of aiming £30,000, which is a big amount of money. Amazing. A difficult year, but the fantastic news is that they are currently at £22,000, which is fantastic. Remarkable and brilliant news. So well done to all.
Yeah, and hello to all the gang at Step by Step as well. We hope to be talking to Nick from Step by Step on the podcast next week. And in fact, just to quickly say that podcast is going to be the final one in this series. I know, short but sweet. What they always say about me. And however, we've got quite a lot to pack in on the next episode as well. So make sure you will be able to download that. And that's the other thing as well, where we're on, of course, lots of podcasts or even platforms, aren't we, Maestro Matt? We've got lots of outlets for people.
Yes, so you can get us on Google Podcasts, on Apple, Spotify, on your Amazon Alexa. But yeah, you can just literally just search us and we come up on all platforms.
Just a little secret, actually. What happened was, you see, because Maestro Matt, as I've said, which is why he's called the Maestro, has been in charge of all the sort of technical bits and pieces of this and fun. I know for a fact that quite late at night sometimes he's been sitting there searching out the different platforms that you can find. He went, I didn't know about that. Anyway, there you go. And we're on YouTube as well, of course. And if you subscribe to any of the outlets, then you not only sort of get all the series that we've had so far, but also when the final podcast comes up at the end of the series, that'll ping up in front as well, which is why I wanted to mention it. Just also, thank you to Catherine for getting in touch. Now, if you're into horses, and particularly horse racing, then there is a really interesting charity called the horseracesanctuary.org. that basically cover a whole load of needs as part of the horse racing community. However, they've got a little bit of a Christmas raffle going on at the moment. And if you know John Frankham, if you're a horse racing person, you'll know John Frankham. He's very, very famous. Of course, jockey, but also then turning into a TV pundit as well. There is an opportunity to win a dinner for two with John Frankham. So if you like your horse racing and you want to support that community, the horseracesanctuary.org is the website. And I think you've got until the 18th of December to get into that raffle. Right, next, we are going to be talking about the Fountain Centre in Guildford.
The Peter Gordon Pod with PG, Bev and Matt.
A lot of the times on this podcast over these last few episodes, we've been catching up with various organisations, various people, individuals who have represented various aspects of life in and around our community. Right at the heart of the community to do with cancer care and the cancer services that Royal Surrey County Hospital is involved in is the Fountain Centre. An amazing place. You may have heard about it. Maybe you've been, in a way, lucky enough not to hear about it yet, but it may well be that someone you know or in your family, if it's not you, will have heard of the Fountain Centre. Joining me now is the head of the centre, and it's Anne Pike. And it's nice to have you on.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
So I was just mentioning just then, there may be some people that don't know the Fountain Centre yet. And in many ways, that may be a lucky thing for them. There's lots of people that do. So can you just, in normal times, let's forget 2020 just for a moment, but for normal times, what is the Fountain Centre and what is it you do?
So the Fountain Centre is an independent charity. We're a small local charity. We sit within the Royal Surrey County Hospital, and we're part of St Luke's Cancer Centre. And we provide information and support to anybody affected by a cancer diagnosis. The hospital are amazing at providing the treatment and the medical side of things, but we now know that more and more people really struggle with other aspects of a cancer diagnosis, whether that is symptoms and side effects or the psychological impact of it, the financial side of it. So we provide all those extra stuff. So we have a small team of staff and a very big team of volunteers that all come in and give their time. And those volunteers will provide everything from complementary therapy to a wig service, to counselling and coaching. We've got a financial or benefits advisor, and we offer other things like groups and like yoga and exercise, as well as information and being able to signpost patients onto other support services as well. And we work really closely with the hospital, and those links are really important to make sure that patients know about us and the patients flow through to us, and we open those communications up with those members of staff as well.
Certainly, just from personal experience in terms of friends that I know that have used the Fountain Centre, whenever you mention the Fountain Centre to someone that's used it, they go, "Oh yes, the Fountain Centre." It's almost like they immediately breathe out. There's some sort of, the stress goes because you just mentioned the Fountain Centre. That's a mighty effect to have had on people, and that just shows what a wonderful place it is. Before we just talk about where things are for you now, can we just go back in time during this year? Every single guest we've had on this podcast, we've talked about the effects of this year. Now, of course, you did have to close. You couldn't do your normal service for quite some time. But although the centre itself was used, wasn't it, during what I would call the real height of COVID?
It was, yes. So we're really lucky that we've got a dedicated space within the hospital. What's lovely about it is it's not clinical. So patients can come in and sit down on the sofas and have a cup of tea and a biscuit and have a level of support. Obviously, when lockdown happened, we had to shut our doors. And so what we did was we handed that space over and the support that we offer within that space to the staff at the hospital. So it was an area that staff could come in and relax. We provided them with things like aromatherapy oils just to help them relax, able to put them some therapies, did some meditation, etc. for them. We've also got a lovely garden. So again, we were able to open up the garden to staff, and that garden is looked after by volunteers. And so in the summer, even though it was a really difficult time, it was in bloom and staff could just have some time out. And it was really important for us to be able to make sure that we could continue to support staff, but also for the staff to have a special place and a safe place to be able to go and relax, because it was tough.
The other thing, though, and of course, there's been from a medical point of view, of course, this year, there's been a sort of double level conversation going on, hasn't there? There has been this front line of COVID, coronavirus, families devastated, people affected, everything affected. But underneath all of that has also been, but what's happening to the people who have got some long-term illness, other aspects that they're having to deal with, quite apart from the fact that that may make them vulnerable to the whole COVID situation. But what about their primary treatment for the conditions like cancer that are going on? So as we move towards the end of 2020, Anne, what are you seeing now with regards to that side of things?
So I think that over time, people have started to go and seek more help. We're definitely seeing that cancer services have been carrying on with changes. So people wearing masks and staff and patients are having regular COVID tests. We've been really lucky. We were able to turn a lot of our services virtually. So all our counselling and coaching went virtual. And now we're starting to open our doors again. So we're doing a mixture of face-to-face and virtual stuff. Initially, I think both with, we've seen in the press how people weren't going forward for diagnostic tests and going to seek help from their GP. We're starting to see people coming through, and that's both for cancer treatments, but also the elements of support that we can offer them. So we've seen our numbers rising. So in October, we saw 40 new patients. By November, we've seen 100 already. So the people are starting to reach out more for the support that we offer.
Because you're part of the medical community, as it were, in and around Guildford, and obviously in a vital institution in Surrey as a whole. What's the feeling been like in these last few days, really, of the fact that vaccines coming through? How has that sort of gone through the medical community a little bit in the Royal Surrey and beyond?
I think there's hope, which is amazing. And I think there's still a lot of questions. And I think that's the reality, because as the information is released, I think the hospital is then, trying to work out how they respond to that in a safe way. And that's the bit that's really, really important. Obviously, it needs to come, and the vaccines, there's a process to follow, but the safety is really important. But I think, there's hope that there is going to be returning to a sense of normality, and that's really important. Going up onto a ward with cancer patients there, and they don't get to have a visitor because of the restrictions, it's heartbreaking to see. So that hope that in times that things will start to returning, whereby that level of support can go back in, is really important.
Okay, well, as you say, there's hope, and that's the main thing. Now, you also mentioned earlier on, the Fountain Centre is a charity, and it may well be that people listening to this maybe want to find out more anyway about helping the Fountain Centre, or even information about the Fountain Centre, which of course may be useful for them or people they know. So, what's the best way to find out more and get in touch, Anne?
So we've got a really active website now. That's one of the things we prioritized over lockdown, is to make sure that our website was up to date and it was really easy to navigate around. So there's lots of information on there, but there's also information about some of our events that are happening. We have a virtual quiz night on the 18th of December. And then we've also got an event in February with George McGavin, who's one of our patrons. But other things is, please just make sure you tell people about the Fountain Centre. Everybody knows somebody with cancer. And if they are struggling or they need some support, please tell them to reach out to us. We're here for them. The other things are just to tell your friends about us and maybe people who you work with. You know, we are really lucky that we get supported by local businesses and communities, and actually being nominated as, you know, their charity of the year means that, you know, we have opportunities to be able to do events with them. We know, as a lot of people, you know, have said, that, you know, income is going to be down. Donations are significantly down for us. So, you know, we do need to have support from the local community to be able to keep going, really. So yeah, just to look at our website, follow us on our social media page. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and you know, help us if you can.
Yeah, online and also on social media. Just search for the Fountain Centre. It's very easy. I did it this morning, and it's easy to find. Anne Pike from the Fountain Centre. We wish you and all that work with you and everyone you look after well, of course. And may you have a happy Christmas as well.
Thank you. Happy Christmas to you too.
The Peter Gordon Pod.
And thank you once again to Anne Pike from the Fountain Centre. Fascinating information in that interview. And hopefully they will keep on going and keep providing the fantastic services that I know that they do for so many local people. And thank you to her once again for joining us. Do you know, amazingly enough, we're nearly at the end of episode 4. We've already got through that already. Just wanted to quickly do a quick state of play as to where we are here on the podcast with Christmas. So, Maestro Matt, I mean, you've had a move going on, or got a move going on. You know, you've hardly had any time to think about Christmas.
So this is the first time that we've actually put up a Christmas tree. We're then going to pack it back up, then we're going to move and then put the tree up again. So yeah, I'm going to be putting up a Christmas tree again next week in their new apartment.
So is it like, is it an artificial one?
No, it's an artificial tree. It's from Bev. Bev gave it to me a few years ago, so it's really cool.
Is it that one?
Yeah, it's great.
I'm so pleased you're still using it.
So it kind of all folds down and then you just pull it up. It's really great. It's lovely and it's a lovely shape. So yeah, it's nice and easy.
This team had Christmas tree history. There you go.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So you've got to fold it up and fold it out again when you get it to the new place.
So I'll be doing that. Yeah.
All right. Be careful, Bev. Christmas tree provider. What news have you got?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've been done for months, so
that is true. In fact, I think you were already getting the baubles out when the first lockdown came around.
Oh, you know, I'm drinking Baileys like it's going out of fashion in my coffee.
Oh yeah,
I've put on about 10 ton. But you know, what else is there to do at this time apart from eat, drink, and try your flipping hardest to be merry?
It is true. I had a bit of a mulled wine and sherry evening the other evening. That was my first revisit to sherry that I normally do at Christmas. And
did she enjoy it?
There's actually a song by Status Quo called "Sherry Don't Fail Me Now." Just thought I'd say that. It's a lesser known hit. I'm not sure it was a hit at all. Anyway, any other business got to go around the houses for any other business. So AOB on the Peter Gordon pod from Maestro Matt.
No.
That's it, is it?
That's it. It's me done.
God, yeah, right. Let's go to Be Careful, Bev.
No, not really. But I know actually that your wife, Mrs. G, has got one of these as well. An Elf on the Shelf, which made a welcome return last week. Ours is called Peanut.
Of course it is.
Peanut has been here for a number of years returning. So yeah, so that's fun.
Why is it called Peanut?
Named by the children years ago.
And that's all you need to say,
I can't
really, isn't
remember
it?
why, yeah.
No, absolutely. My AOB is just a reminder about our little fun countdown to Christmas that we're doing on the Peter Gordon pod Twitter timeline. And, you know, there's been a few Father Christmases pop on there, a few numbers and all the rest of it. Normally gets posted in the mornings when the poster remembers that they've got to do it. That'll be me. So, you know, times vary. However, it will be there. And hopefully you're enjoying that if you haven't already signed up to our Twitter feed, which just search for Peter Gordon Pod on Twitter and you will find it. Right. So that is it for episode 4. We'll be back with the final podcast in this series. Episode 5 will be here next time. But thank you very much indeed for listening. Don't forget, do get in touch via Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The email from Maestro Matt one more time.
petergordonpod@gmail.com.
So, from Maestro Matt, it is
Goodbye.
goodbye. From Be Careful Bev, it is
Goodbye.
and from Perky PG, doesn't work, it is goodbye. Thank you for listening. See you next time.
The Peter Gordon Pod. Thanks for listening.